All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to Unfolded Words Podcast, Rabbi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Aaron,
Thank me.
just reminding you what your name is.
Thank you. Thank you. What a night last night.
Yes.
Wow. We'll get right into the topic, right? What is the topic?
Last night.
Last night, right? And the holiday was an amazing holiday. And I didn't know what the holiday was about until this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew what it was about. I knew it was about a Rebbe getting released from prison. But like you said last night, all the Ukrainians are about a Rebbe getting released from prison. But it wasn't until this morning until I realized how big of a deal that was 250 years ago.
Yeah. So we're clear. It began last night. It continues into today.
Right.
Then to tonight.
Right.
Then to tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you could push it till tomorrow night, and nobody will stop you.
Depends on how much of this we have, right?
Whatever's necessary.
Whatever's
right?
necessary.
Yeah. This is just for props.
Right.
But it is a day of Farbrengens.
Right.
Right. And the word Farbrengen is a Yiddish word. It means to gather together.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And as we said, so when we back up, so what happened last night? What did you hear, and what did you get clear about over the day today, this morning?
Well, like I said, you actually called me yesterday, which the rabbi rarely calls me. We text all day, but you called me, and so I knew it was important. And I obviously answered the call, and you said, come to shul, you need to come to shul tonight. And I don't question. I just, you know what I mean? I just do. And so I came to shul, and it was wonderful. A lot of the congregation was there. And it was a great energy, but I didn't really understand what it was about. I understood that a Rebbe got released from prison 250 years ago, but I didn't realize until this morning when I was studying the topic what the significance of that was and how important that was.
Yes.
There's almost a Kabbalistic feel to what happened on that day. And what I mean by Kabbalistic, I mean something deeper than just a Rebbe getting released from prison.
Yes.
It was like an acknowledgement of the fact that the soul of Torah should be exposed to the world.
Mm.
Because the way that he was released with honors, right? And it was like, to me, it symbolized the soul of Torah being held almost captive and then being released.
Yes.
To the world.
Yeah.
And such a huge government acknowledging that.
Yeah, we're talking about in the Tsarist government.
Didn't like Jews.
They didn't like Jews, and he was libeled against.
Right.
And we do understand spiritually what happened at the time was the imprisonment was orchestrated the way we understand it from a Kabbalistic level. Satan, the same disruptive force that destroyed the first temple,
mm-hmm.
that came into the world to destroy the second temple,
mm-hmm.
came back into the world a third time to stop the Alter Rebbe.
Wow. The same thing.
Yes. So it was, there's an expression, Me'evai Tichak Meni. It's a verse in Psalms. And King David is asking God, let me outsmart my enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Another way of looking at those words, because in Hebrew you could kind of read things in different ways, was, from my enemies I become smart. How do you become smart from your enemy? When you see what they're going after, you know how valuable that thing is.
So it's like shines a light on that.
It's kind of like when you go to the doctor and wherever it hurts,
yeah,
that's where the problem is,
right?
And that's where the work needs to be done.
Right, of course.
So, and also like psychologically, wherever the resistance is, wherever the topic, when somebody brings that up, you're like, oh, we're not talking about that.
Right. Oh, that's
the topic you need to talk about.
Yeah.
So the Yetzer Hara, Satan, whatever you want to call it, came into this world to disrupt the Alter Rebbe, to stop the spreading of Chassidus. And in fact, the story is that while he was in prison, he was visited by the Baal Shem Tov and by the Magid, his teacher.
Wow. Who were already gone.
Who had already passed on.
Right.
And the understanding is that they actually came in a physical form. It wasn't just some type of revelation.
No, he saw.
And he saw them, and they explained to him that there's a huge decree up in heaven against you for what's going on here. This is not, what's happening here is the very end result of tumultuous things that are happening up in heaven.
Wow.
And he asked them, so what do you want me to do? Should I stop?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, no, continue and do it even more.
Wow.
And this celebrate him coming out of prison. Yes, his life was saved. He's be able to be back with the Hasidim.
Right.
The decree that was trying to stop the spread of this unbelievable wisdom and light that was supposed to come into the world was now removed.
It was removed.
It was destroyed. It was annulled. And now Hasidus is able to steam forward, and then each Rebbe successively, one after the other, continue to spread and to teach and elaborate and bring down this wisdom to a lower level and a lower level, and to the point where we're spreading it on a podcast.
On a podcast.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound. I hope I don't want this to come across as disrespectful, but it's almost to me level with the Har Sinai event. I mean, not quite.
Yeah.
Because that was
Yes.
what it was. But from a standpoint of allowing people like me, allowing Jews like me, to get to the places that I've gotten.
There are parallels. You're not the first one to say this.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, the Har Sinai event happened in the third month, starting from Passover.
Okay.
Nisan.
Okay.
And this is the third month, starting from Sukkot.
Okay.
There are elements
So
that bring that together. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is a huge day.
It's a huge day.
It's a day, and like I told some people, it's a time to tap in, and it's a time to really draw down something different for ourselves.
Right.
Right?
Right.
To go into a place where we can really unearth and create a change in our life.
So let me ask you this: prior to the Alter Rebbe, the teaching of Kabbalah, the soul of the Torah, was a very protected knowledge. It was almost a secret wisdom. It was a secret wisdom, right? And that secret wisdom basically was a very powerful understanding of how the world and how the universe works.
Yes.
Why before the Alter Rebbe was it secret? Why was it so protected? Why? I mean, I would think as Jews, we come from Abraham, who Abraham was so hospitable and so wanting to make everyone feel so welcome. Why the exclusionary feel? Why the exclusionary energy of this most beautiful thing to the rest of the world? It just doesn't seem like it goes along with what Abraham Avinu was about. I mean, it's like you come into my house, you can come in, but you don't get this. You know what I mean? Like you can hang out with me.
Well, using that analogy, which is a great analogy, you come into my house, you can hang out in the living room and the dining room, but you're not going to get into the bedroom.
Right.
Okay. But let's think about a secret for a minute, right?
Okay.
There are two types of secrets. There's arbitrary secrets, which are secrets that they're only a secret because not many people know about it.
That's the definition of a secret, right?
He's teaching me.
Webster defines secret as.
Should I say that again slower?
Well, a little bit. Yeah. You know, I'm a little slow on the uptake.
Yeah. So one way to look at a secret is that's not it's not a secret on its essence.
Okay.
It's a secret because no one else knows about it. Once everyone finds out about it, it's not a secret anymore.
Right, of course.
Right, and you're right. Like that's pretty much all secrets. But then let's think about this differently. There's something that's a secret because of what it is, not because of what people know about it or not. Because at its very nature, it's a hidden type of experience, and it's like more intimate parts of ourselves. They're what we could call a secret part of ourselves, right? They're not secretive because no one else knows about it. Even if everybody knew about that deeper part of myself, it would always remain deep and secretive.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because of what it is. It's by its very nature something that's within.
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Even if somebody puts their bedroom out on display,
Mhm.
it doesn't make it less of an intimate space.
Intimate. That's the word. Okay. Okay.
So think of the Kabbalah as the intimate part of Torah.
Okay.
So you're asking, why wasn't it always revealed?
Mhm.
Well, didn't lend itself to that. It was naturally something that was more inner.
Okay.
There are reasons why it wouldn't have been good for it to have been out there.
At the time.
Yes.
Or before that time.
Before that time. But I want to go a step deeper than that and just say, like, why should it have been out there? It was naturally something that was more intimate.
So only a certain, I don't want to say level, but only a certain group of even Jews understood it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It wasn't all Jews didn't even get it.
No, absolutely not.
Right.
You had to be on a certain caliber, on a certain level to be able to tap into that.
And it was only passed down verbally, right? It was an oral tradition passed down.
Everything in the Torah was oral.
Was oral. Like you said, we want to
I mean, up to the Talmud, but yeah. But then you had the Zohar. The Zohar is written down.
But that was about it, though, right? I mean, there was the Tanya wasn't written, right?
No. The Tanya is much more than just Kabbalah.
Right.
The Tanya is taking the wisdom of the Kabbalah and teaching you how to live life.
Practical application.
Yes.
Practical, yeah.
It's a life guide.
Right.
Rooted in the understanding of the world and of ourselves and of Torah from a Kabbalistic narrative. So you could always, there's a lot in Torah. And Torah, you read the Parsha, you read the Torah, you read the stories of Abraham, and you can get deeper, you can get to the Kabbalistic thing of it. But what does that do for us? What does that do for you? What does that do for me? How does it help me handle the challenges that I have in my life, the small ones and the big ones?
Right. The relatability.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Tanya, what it did was, he tapped into all this wisdom and he said, now here's how you can actually structure your life in a sustainable, successful way where you'll fulfill your purpose. And with that, it'll be the most impactful and it'll change the world.
And Alter Rebbe wrote that.
And the Alter Rebbe put together the Tanya, and it took him many years.
Many years.
So here's what he writes in the introduction to Tanya. He quotes a verse from Moses. Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish people, he says, Ki karev elaka hadavar ma'od, v'ficho v'lvavcha la'asoso, which means this matter of Torah is something that's exceedingly close to you. So Moshe says. And, it's always interesting to me how he doesn't say it's easy. Nobody ever said Torah is easy. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
There's a lot of things you could do and you can't do and whatever it is. And the selling point of Torah is not that it's easy. And I'm not a marketing expert, but anytime something that's coming across as super easy, there's always a trade-off,
of course,
right? And I don't know if that's your best marketing strategy.
It's like it's not worth it.
Yeah. So, and when I was teaching this to some of the teenagers, I was telling them, if you would have came and said Torah, if Torah was easy. A lot of times, Judaism is hard. You're like, it's so hard. The difficulty of Judaism is not that it's hard. And the proof is, people work hard all the time. And that's not what's stopping them.
Right.
Meaningful work that's hard is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't get tired from it. You get energized.
You get energized, right? If you could do something and then you look back and you say, I just did that.
Yeah.
Let's get back at it.
Amazing.
It's like, these people when they're working on a project and you literally have to tear them away from it.
Right.
Their back is breaking, they're leaning over and they're loving it.
Yeah.
Hard work is not the enemy.
Right.
It's work that doesn't satisfy our soul.
Right.
So what did Moshe say? Ki karev elecha hadavar ma'od. It's close to you. What does it mean something's close to me? I can identify with it. It's me. It's my story. When I look at what's going on and I open up a verse in the Torah, I'm reading something that's directly connected to me.
Yes, relatable.
And the Alter Rebbe ends off with after that verse, he says, this book is here to explain how? How does Torah become identifiable, or I should say, rooted in our own identity? Let me I'll give you a little story that relates to this. When the Alter Rebbe was in prison, while he was there for 53 days. You know the significance of that number
There's
is?
got to be something.
There were 53 chapters in the Torah.
53. Okay, that's right.
And he sat like one day for each chapter. Because again, this was a spiritual thing. It's not like the people that imprisoned him were aware of this entire interaction. But when it plays out and we're able to look back after, we're like, wow. Okay.
Right.
So he's sitting in prison. And there was a very high-ranking officer in the Russian government that was very well versed in Torah and other things. And he always had a question. He heard that there's an amazing rabbi who's in prison, and he said, I'll go in for a visit and talk to him about this. So he comes in. And he says, Rabbi, I got a question. Could I ask? He says, sure. And he says, you read in the beginning of the Torah where after Adam and Eve sin and they eat from the tree of knowledge, God comes in and says, Adam, where are you?
Right.
And the guy asks the Alter Rebbe, God doesn't know where Adam is?
That's what I said.
That's the basic God thing to know.
Right.
Right? Basic God requirement is you know everything, right?
Yeah. The great question.
So the Alter Rebbe tells this individual what Rashi writes. Rashi has the same question. Rashi explains that God wanted to have a soft opening with that, give him a chance to kind of speak. What do you do? Your kid did something wrong.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Chocolate on your mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you give him a chance to say, oh yeah, this, that, or. So the guy knew what Rashi says, and he tells the Alter Rebbe, what Rashi says, I know, I want to know what you say. So the Alter Rebbe said, do you believe that Torah is eternal? And the guy says, yes. So at that moment, the Alter Rebbe was very happy because that was one of the points in Hasidism that he was really trying to push the eternity of Torah. Now, I want to explain for a minute my understanding. What does it mean Torah is eternal? We read a story now we're reading about Joseph being sold by his brothers. It's a great story.
Yeah.
It's a lot of wisdom and insight. It's a story that happened over 3,300 years ago.
Right.
It's an old story. So you're reading it, it's an old story, you heard it already, right?
Of course.
So because it's an event that happened at a certain time, we naturally see it as something old. What does it mean when something comes eternal? Something eternal is like, imagine you get introduced to, you hear all of a sudden on your Spotify shuffle list, a song comes on, and you're like, oh my God, this song hits.
Yes. Yeah.
This is unbelievable. Yeah. And you go to your buddy, and you're like, you gotta see the song. He's like, dude, it's like 50 years old.
Yeah.
I don't care. When you heard it,
yeah,
it resonated, it connected.
Right.
One of the things about a good song is that I know for me, I sometimes have that experience. When I hear a good song, it almost sounds familiar.
Right. It's a home to it. There's an intimacy to it.
It's like this is I remember I came across a certain song, which if somebody wants to know what it is, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to put it out there. You have to ask in the comments. And I was furious. I'm like, everyone knew about this song and no one told me. What? I was like, yeah, it's a great song. It's an old. I'm like, what? There should be certain songs where everyone
knows.
Yeah, like, hey, this is what you need to know.
Right.
This is how you make scrambled eggs. You got to know these 5 songs, right?
I love it.
So, and what happens is when you hear that song, it resonates in such a way where it becomes timeless, and it cuts right into our identity.
And it's new every time you hear it.
And it's new. Meaning relatable. New meaning.
That's it. That's the key.
As core as to who we are. And so when the guy said, yes, I believe Torah is that.
Yeah.
So the Torah to Adam and Eve is not a story. It's an incredible song that's as powerful and relatable right now as it ever was.
Yes.
The Alter Rebbe says, if so, here's why God asked Adam, Ayako, where are you? God is asking every single man, every single person,
Oh.
where are you?
Oh.
A person lives 53 years, the Alter Rebbe said, which was the exact age of that guy sitting there.
Oh, wow.
God asks him, where are you? With the mission, the purpose, the abilities, the courage, the resources that I put in front of you. How are you fulfilling the purpose for which I put you?
It's recentering you. Wow.
Where are you in relation to that? So it's not like where is Adam? Where is he after this? Where are you?
It's almost a rhetorical
And
question.
it's always,
you ask yourself.
And that's a song you can listen to.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
And Tanya, the way that you just explained that, Tanya did that. Tanya made Kabbalah and Torah, took all that wisdom and made it relatable to your life. So that was kind of the Alter Rebbe, correct me if I'm wrong, that was almost like the mission of the Alter Rebbe. I know you will. That was kind of the mission of the Alter Rebbe,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Was to make this ancient wisdom relatable and usable in people's lives.
Yeah, and in it, he made a bold statement. He said, in the introduction, you will find all the answers to all the questions. Now, he wasn't doing it to sell books.
I get it.
He understood that the wisdom with that he's tapping into does indeed have all the answers.
Does this not take us back to our very first conversation, Rabbi? What did I say in our very first conversation in your office? What did I say? What do I need?
I don't know. I was intoxicated.
I said I need Kabbalah.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Yes, yeah.
I figured out what I need in my life, and what did you just tell me? Kabbalah has all the answers.
But what did I tell you then?
What did you tell me then?
I was discouraged.
Yeah, I know. This is our first podcast.
Our first podcast was so to speak, the balance to everything that we're talking about here.
Exactly. Wow.
The answers are all there, but you could never. And here's the second point. He writes, "I'm going to teach you how to get there," but then he adds, "in the long, short way."
What does that mean?
And that's where the other topic that we had came, where I spoke to you then. So it's based on a story in the Talmud.
Okay.
The Talmud speaks about a rabbi who was traveling to Jerusalem, and he gets to a fork in the road, and there were a couple of kids there, and he's like, "Which way to the city?" And they're like, "This is the long, short way, and this is the short, long way."
What does that mean?
So he didn't either know. So he takes the short, long way.
Okay.
And it's indeed very short. Like the roads are paved, and he's able to see everything where he's going. It's going really well. But then as soon as he gets to the city, it's blocked by a massive wall.
Oh.
And he can't get in.
Oh.
So it's short, but then it's long.
Got it.
So he comes back and he has a conversation with the kids again and realizes.
Oh, got it. The other way is
long. The other way is long. But at the end result is that it's short.
There's no more.
The Alter Rebbe was saying, he's like, I'm going to tell you how we get there, but I'm going to tell you how we're going to do that. We're not going to do it the short, long way. The short, long way is you're not feeling it, you're not feeling connected.
Right.
So you read a quick thought, you hear a song, just kind of get out of the rut, get back into the game. Okay. But there isn't deep-rooted strategy on how to deal with inner transformational work. Right? You're not. The Alter Rebbe's recipe is long.
Right.
You got to meditate.
Right.
You got to confront the things that are there. You got to figure out where your place is in this world.
Right.
And it's more than just, Band-Aid and get back into the game.
But that does nothing.
Right. Okay, so here's the final story of the podcast. You ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
I'm ready.
Now, I don't know if it's a good enough story for me to ask you if you're ready 2 times.
We're all waiting now.
Okay, fine. So, there were different groups of Hasidim. Chabad, Alter Rebbe, there's others. And they would sometimes all pray in the same synagogue,
Okay.
same shul. And there was one guy who was a chassid of the Alter Rebbe, and he comes visiting the Alter Rebbe in an audience, and he's complaining. And he says, I feel like you're not giving me the good stuff.
Mm.
He says, I want my money back. He didn't say any of that. But what he did say was, there's another chassid who's prays every day next to me. He's from a different group. He goes to a different Rebbe. And this guy's on fire. When he's praying, it's like the walls are trembling. You could see the angels dancing around him.
Right.
Fire's in his eyes. Me, one day I'm feeling it. The other day I'm looking at the words and it looks Chinese. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
and and some days I'm kind of building something up, and then midway I just lose interest.
Yeah.
And it's just a mess.
Yeah.
And the Alter Rebbe, he says, he's complaining. He's like, what? How's this? Alter Rebbe says, what you're seeing in the other chassid, it's not his fire. It's his Rebbe's fire.
Mm.
What you're doing is your own.
Oh.
And when you need to build it yourself, it's not a perfect picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it goes this way, sometimes it goes that
Yeah.
way. But when you're just living off of somebody else's inspiration, but it's not yours, you're not owning that process, it'll be more consistent,
Oh.
but less deep. It's like the difference between a painting and a picture.
Got it.
A picture is perfect,
Right.
but in a painting, you see a story.
Yeah.
You see the life of the artist
There's humanity. in it.
unfolding. Exactly.
There's humanity in it. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's the long, short way.
I love it.
It's not. It's. You got to be in it for the long game.
Right.
Right. We got to know we're not going to fix this thing overnight. It's going to be long, but the end result is that it's short. The end result is that when you get to where you need to get to, you're all in. It's yours. It can never be taken away. It's like owning your own crypto
Right.
versus putting it on an exchange and it's never yours.
My grandfather.
I don't know if it's like that, but I just have to put that in because that's what's going on right now.
My grandfather told me once, "Do what's hard and life will be easy. Do what's easy and life will be hard."
Mm-hmm. Or they say like instruction, which I don't know if they heard it on the video. Measure twice and install once. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I love
So so that was my point when we spoke then the first time.
Got it.
I need Kabbalah, but you got to take it in the long, short way.
Right.
And my point in that was like it doesn't work the way you think it's gonna.
I
work.
thought magic bullet. Once I
Right.
got it, I'm good.
And finally, the secret.
The secret. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, that's a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
There was 0 alcohol ingested throughout this entire podcast or prior. I'm not going to say what's going to happen after.
Not for me.
But
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
we appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thank you very much.